This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
C1 booster rocket.
Well, there's overwhelming proof that it didn't happen.
When you study Bitcoin's path up to 19,000, there are no shadows on either side of the graph. Could we realistically have gone that high that fast? Once we do the calculation, Brewer's fixed point theorem tells us that we're looking at an impossible graph.
Far too many people would have to cover up for...
How many people have supposedly gone beyond low Earth orbit? Beyond
No idea.
24. Only 24. So what I'm saying is...
How much did you put down on that marker?
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombies. So it is Wednesday, it is hump day, and I'm having a little bit of a hump day over here myself because my morning was just extremely hectic, guys. I know this video is probably coming out a little bit later than usual, and then on top of that, I lost my ledger this morning, couldn't find it. It was just really crazy. So, okay, we're here, we're good, we're back. Now, having a look at what's going on, some people were freaking out this morning. Like, I heard everyone like, oh no, we're crashing, and I checked it out and I'm like, we're only down like 2% on Bitcoin. I mean, I know sometimes it drags the altcoins down a little bit more than that, but if we have a look, we only fell like $2 billion. It's not really that much considering we've been in a downtrend and there's not much happening and we have very low volume. I mean, having a look at the chart right here, this is what we're freaking out about. I mean, I'm not saying we're not going to go lower. We could, but I mean, as of what happened this morning, it wasn't really that big of a deal. You know, Bitcoin sitting around $3,410, XRP 29 cents, Ethereum $104. Ethereum, you know, got hit a little harder out of the coins. Bitcoin dominance at 53.5%. Biggest gainers so far of the day on the top page, we have Binance Coin, Veritasium, Bitcoin SV, Nexo, Theta, OneChain, Repo, and then we go into stablecoins. So not really that exciting. Jeez, it's just nothing is really happening in these markets, right? Well, we do actually have some pretty positive news today. I got a lot of cool stories, just like very reaffirming, you know, for the space. But let's just start off like we always do, guys. I want to just have a look at what some of the experts out there are saying, right? I mean, obviously some of these guys have a lot more experience with the charts than we do. So according to Murad Mahmoudov, as you guys know, I mention him a lot on the channel, he's actually been identifying what he believes to be clear accumulation zones if this downtrend line remains intact. Only when it's been broken will the Bitcoin bulls return. He says break that trend line before we can even think about having bullish discussions. I actually have it pulled up right here, but we'll get into that in just a second. So pretty much, long story short, this is being based on, you know, obviously looking at previous, you know, things that have happened in the past and applying them to today, which we know is not always the best strategy, but it does give us an idea of what's going on. So according to him, he says that the buy zone is from June to August of this year when Bitcoin is predicted to be around $2,400. And he says accumulation can continue until it breaks above $3,000 again later this year. So currently we're sitting right here, and he has, you know, heaven, purgatory, and he calls this Bitcoin hell. And apparently this is the, you know, where we're looking right here. If we scroll down, we could see June, you know, July, August. So that's kind of the spot that they're saying could be the sweet spot to potentially buy. According to him, institutions won't enter the market until there's a clear trend reversal. And using the same chart that he's also talked about a final capitulation with one wick where he thinks we can touch 1,800 as the potential bottom, where we consolidate around 2,400 for the better part of the year. And this has been echoed by using fractal pattern analysis, which we actually were looking at the other day, how it's just kind of continuing the same thing over and over again, right? But also, on a macro scale, that could be something to look at. But of course, nobody knows. It's just speculation. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want, this is the, what is going on? Oh, there we go. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what he's saying, guys. Now, I want to move on and talk about something else that happened before we get into some really cool news of the day. So obviously, the Bitcoin bull market was a bubble. that burst, all right, in 2018, but the painful event had a major upside. Now, here's the interesting part, and this is why there's always a positive side, always a silver lining, you know. It attracted a lot of money and talent to the industry. So this is the assessment of Matt Hogan. He's the global head of research at Bitwise, creator of the world's first cryptocurrency index fund. He says, while financial bubbles understandably carry a negative connotation, he says that the Bitcoin bubble actually fueled intense media interest in blockchain and the crypto market, and moreover, the soaring crypto prices actually lured in a tremendous talent pool to the industry that otherwise might have not been wooed, you know, unless it had the crazy headlines that it did. And you're seeing a lot of these guys still sticking around and building as well. So, you know, in this sense, he says that the Bitcoin bubble isn't dissimilar to the internet bubble of 1996 to 2001, which imparted similar collateral benefits to the then nascent industry. He says it did the same thing that happened with the internet, which is it attracted a huge amount of talent. It did bring a lot of capital and interest into the development of the ecosystem. So I don't think interesting things will be born from that, but yes, it was a difficult year in 2018. I'm sorry, he says, I do think interesting things will be born from that. He says, I think Bitcoin is the next .com. Remember, the .com bubble created pets.com, but it also created Amazon.com. He says there's 2,000 cryptocurrencies out there. 95% of them are useless and will die a painful death. The sooner this happens, the better. But from those ashes will merge important things. You know, just like the .com ashes, we got Amazon, Google, Facebook, etc. So he also says that Bitcoin is the millennial generation's version of gold. He pointed to recent surveys showing that millennials, which is individuals born from 1981 to 1996, have a favorable view of cryptocurrencies compared to baby boomers, people born from 1946 to 1964. He says every generation has an asset that they love or a way of getting exposure that they love. The greatest generation loved gold. Then people loved active mutual funds. Gen X loved hedge funds, and millennials love crypto. Actually, I'll show you. It's pretty cool because in his interview, he wasn't just talking like just about like price and stuff. He actually was talking about the advantages to like, you know, blockchain and stuff like that. I'll show you like a real quick clip. I don't want to harp on it. You guys could watch it, but you know, check like this out.
We've known for a long time how to do digital transactions. I can send you something with a private signature through cryptography and you can receive it. Right. The risk is with digital, we haven't had digital scarcity. In other words, if I send money to you, that's a bunch of stream of numbers. I could also send that same stream of numbers to someone else and someone else and someone else. And you could just make ultimate copies of that, right? And that's why it's been difficult. What blockchain does is there's a process called mining where the blockchain or the Bitcoin miners look at all the transactions. They have to solve a mathematical puzzle to piece them together. And in that process, they timestamp that the only transaction that mattered for this string of numbers was the one I sent to you, and everything else is invalid. So it's created for the first time this concept of digital scarcity, which allows you to put things onto like transactions, like sending you money or like contracts onto a blockchain in a reasonable way that you can believe in. It becomes transactional.
I mean, we could watch this all day, guys, but what I thought was cool about it was it wasn't just an interview, you know, talking about like price and stuff. It was actually related to the advantages of the technology. As you can see right here, when they were talking about the age groups, you could see, for example, how familiar are you with Bitcoin when they asked 18 to 34, you know, 32% heard of it, 26% sounds familiar. And then Bitcoin is a positive innovation in financial technology. You have 20% strongly agreeing, whereas ages 65 and up, you only have 2% strongly agreeing. The majority of them say they don't even understand it. And yeah, so that's that, right? But accordingly, he says he doesn't pay too much attention to the constant media hype that Bitcoin is dead and all this other stuff. He says all the, you know, cyclical lurching is part for the course. So everyone needs to just calm down. Bitcoin's gone through 6 or 7, 70% plus drawdowns in the past, and each of those has, you've seen an even higher rally. He says, I'm not saying it will necessarily happen here, but it's down 70%. It's up 300% over the last 2 years. So it depends on your perspective. It's actually down more than 72%. It's closer to like 82, 83, but we'll take it. And then he talked about Fidelity hiring different people. They just hired over 150 people, right? And he says, we know we had conversations with 2,000 institutional and financial advisors last year. He says there is a dramatic interest in crypto. They want good ways to get exposure. Also, one thing I just want to let everybody know, the volume on these retail exchanges might be quite low, but the OTC market is absolutely booming. Don't let them fool you. They are absolutely accumulating right now. So, even though there's not a lot of data, which is the unfortunate part with the OTC markets, but there are many sources that are saying that there are. So, moving on to some kind of lighter stuff of the day, right? So, we have Jack, the co-founder of Twitter, and in response to imagine a world where you can tip people with Satoshis for their tweets, I bet content quality would go up. And he says, I love that idea. Now, some people in the bottom, they're saying, well, XRP Tipbot already does that, but let's just indulge the story because it was really cool that the CEO of Twitter was getting involved, right? So, long story short, the Lightning Network has achieved a new goal in terms of adoption and publicity. The trust torch, right? So, consisting of an ever-growing quantity of Satoshis, which gets transacted back and forth by Lightning enthusiasts, has finally arrived to Twitter's CEO and co-founder Jack Dorsey. So, you can see it says, actually, the movement was started by HODLNOT, who I actually follow on Twitter, and it was probably thought as a fun little experiment to demonstrate the capabilities of Lightning, as well as point out the virtues of the technology's early adopters. An initial amount of 100 Satoshis was added by HODLNOT as an initial tip. And every new participant who gets in must add 10 Satoshis of his own before passing the torch, right? In the initial message, it all sounded like a challenge to see how much money could be accumulated until somebody got greedy and decided to break the chain. So that's why it's like, the trust torch, right? Or whatever they're calling it. So basically, as you can see right here, this is where it starts. And then throughout the 2 weeks after that, hundreds of tweets had been published to talk about the status of the torch, and many influential Bitcoiners have had the chance to endorse the campaign through participation. It's somewhat obvious that the initial expectations have been exceeded, yet the limits of this trust chain are yet to be reached. For instance, you had Bitcoin educator and advocate Andreas Antonopoulos, who actually passed the torch. He said, playing LN trust chain is better than watching the Super Bowl. Okay, I lied. Anything is better than watching the Super Bowl for this nerd. And you can see HODLNOT, he says, when I started this experiment, I never in my wildest dreams thought that it would get this kind of traction. Mind blown. This is crazy. Also, node launcher developer Pierre Ricard, who has written and published the software which allows any Windows and Mac OS users to run a Lightning node, also was one of the first to receive the torch as well. Now, there was a little bit of a bump in the road. This was kind of a funny one. So you have Edouard BTC, and I actually have his tweet pulled up over here. He said, so I'm currently proudly holding the Lightning torch. I'll seize it because I can, and no one can stop me. This is Bitcoin. Lightning Network is unfairly cheap and fast. So then people were upset, and he said, sure you can, which is why this experiment is so cool. More than 100 people got to experience how good it felt to be trusted and live up to trust, a feeling of community. You choose the experience, how it feels to lie and betray trust. Hope you grow bigger from this. The whole point of Bitcoin is to remove the need to trust any individual person. And, basically after this, they essentially convinced the guy to keep the torch going. So thank you for doing that and keeping it going. That was pretty cool of you. Then it went on to Matt Odell, and he said, are you ready? And he passed it on to Jack, who ended up taking it. And not only did he provide the Lightning address to receive the torch, but he also made the symbolic gesture of passing it to Lightning Labs CEO and co-founder Elizabeth Stark. And you can see over here, she says, phew, Jack takes the Lightning torch, sends it to me, tweets a bunch about Bitcoin, agrees to do a podcast on the spot with Stephen Lavera and me. Pretty sure Lightning Twitter is now officially a thing. So that is like the crazy story of what's been going on. I mean, everyone was just having fun last night on Twitter. Also, Elizabeth Stark, she's got like the coolest name. I don't know if it's because she's like doing Lightning Network stuff, or like I think of Tony Stark from the Avengers, but Elizabeth Stark, she's got like a badass like tone to that name, right? So that's just like a side note. And also just want to mention that also he didn't stop just with the Lightning advocacy. In another tweet, he also publicly claimed that he would not choose to to own any other cryptocurrency except for Bitcoin, and also weighed in on confusion over the difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. As you can see right here, you have Bitcoin, the official account, which we know is run by Bitcoin Cash, and it says, how do you think Bitcoin can grow to be the native currency when it can only handle 3 transactions per second, a level that was already reached more than a year ago and resulted in fees of $50 per transaction? And then he responded, never said it would be the only one, said it'd probably be the native currency. And then here, he says, Jack, would you hold any other coins? He says, nope. And then it says, well, Jack is actually talking. Oh, so what if Jack is actually talking about Bitcoin Cash? And then Jack says, hell no. So he's not a fan of Bitcoin Cash. So that's basically what's been going on, guys. That is the big news, I guess the fun news to start the video off. Now, we do have some more news coming out of Quadriga. So it looks like, okay, a lot of people are being affected by this. There's been a lot of victims. Obviously, there's a lot of money lost. So now there's lawyers that are trying to figure out what's the most sensible thing that you could do to help compensate them. So now they're saying that one of the most obvious to solve this issue is to sell the exchange. But there's one more solution that gives hope. The encrypted laptop that was used by Cotton will be given to a court-appointed monitor, an independently third party that will investigate the company's operations during the bankruptcy procedure. It said that after the death of Cotton, the laptop was held by the representatives of the exchange, but namely that the device might provide access to frozen Quadriga customer funds. So they have asked for a 30-day stay of proceedings. The period will end March 7th. The company explained that they need this time to find the key that could provide access to the customer's funds. Nevertheless, if it doesn't happen, the lawyer speaking on behalf of QuadrigaCX will consider a variant of selling the exchange to cover the debts. But the question is, who's going to buy the exchange? This exchange already comes with debt. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you buy this exchange, you're already buying it with debt included. So who's going to buy this? Plus, the reputation and the name of the exchange has already been so tainted. I can't see that happening. And on top of that, I don't even know if this is true or not. This is just like another rumor that came out. Apparently, people are pointing to the co-founder, Michael Patron, and they're saying that he's using a fake name and that his real name is Omar Denani, who was convicted of fraud in the United States and was released in 2007. The fraud was for operating an online marketplace for identity theft. He was also arrested in Canada for laundering money for the fraudulent payment processor Liberty Reserve. So, I mean, apparently his history is true. I don't know if Michael Patron is actually this dude. I mean, this thing just gets crazier and crazier. Then I saw somebody was saying that they found proof of a death certificate. So obviously we're going to let this one just kind of take a breather for a few days, and we'll get back once we have some more sound information on what exactly is happening. Now, guys, yet again, we have another freaking phishing attack. This time it's on Electrum and My Ether wallets. Now, I want you guys to know, phishing attacks can be avoided. A phishing attack is a link that you click that is essentially not the right link. It's a copycat link, When you hover your mouse over links, you can see where you're going on the bottom of your browser, If you don't recognize the link or it looks fishy or you're getting an email that you don't know, just don't click it, Or if you have a question, don't be afraid to email, the staff. There's always somebody there that is more than happy to help at customer service. So you could see one user on Reddit found that the phishing scam attempted to steal sensitive data from the Electrum customers, and it was posing as a security update. Now, Electrum subsequently published a warning on their website notifying that versions of Electrum older than 3.3.3 are vulnerable to a phishing attack. So yeah, you got to upgrade. Electrum's had a lot of issues though. I mean, personally, that's why. Am I broken record here with the hardware wallets, guys? I feel like I am, but yeah, okay. Anyway, moving on. So here's actually some kind of cool news, I guess, in a sense, for Bitcoin. It looks like that according to some research that's been done by, according to Canadian Financial Services, the Canaccord Genuity Group, Bitcoin has become more decentralized by several measures. So this is a good thing because we do worry about centralization. So they talk about how Bitcoin was less decentralized in its earlier days as measured by hash rate distribution. However, over the last few years, increased competition among mining chip manufacturers has led to decreasing centralization. Now, if you look at this, in 2014, the mining pool GHash.io controlled about 50% of the total Bitcoin hash rate. Now, a lot of people are, oh, Bitmain, right? Well, Antpool only holds about 19%. Now, there is an issue, though. These guys are affiliated with each other, and that's the problem. You have Antpool and you have BTC.com and F2 Pool. I mean, they all sort of affiliate with each other, so you can kind of say maybe there's a conspiracy behind that, but ultimately, it's looking much better, whereas you have 5 mining pools that have roughly between 10 to 20% as compared to, back in the day when it was 50% by GHash.io. So it says that this is a positive development for, Bitcoin, adding that while there are several factors that contributed to it, the most important factor has been commoditization of Bitcoin mining chips as advances in ASICs have slowed, allowing for broader competition for Bitcoin's mining reward. So there you go. Some people are still going to argue and say it's super centralized. I don't know. It could be. It could not be. It's up to you, your opinion, but it is generally less centralized than it used to be, if you really want to go by just percentages, right? So also some good news, you have Japanese financial giant SBI says its new crypto exchange VCT Trade will officially launch in March. Deposits and withdrawals for Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum are already up and running as the platform prepares to enable trading. The SBI CEO made an announcement via Twitter confirming that the exchange will also support Bitcoin Cash. They said it's expected to onboard customers from its massive user base of more than 23 million people, and VCT Trade was initially set up to enable crypto trading back in July. SBI delayed the launch after reporting a crush of demand for pre-registrations. Funny how Bitcoin and crypto is going to zero and everything is gloom and doom, yet there's just this insane demand for people to get involved. But yeah, we'll just act like the whole space is going to zero, right? Anyway, let's talk about what is going on with some coins, and then we can move on. So we have the Litecoin Foundation sponsoring California Film Festival. So Litecoin is going to be a sponsor of the Mammoth Film Festival, and this is happening in February. And this was announced by the Litecoin Foundation. So they had the, they were over there for UFC. Looks like they're really trying to get their name out there is what they're trying to do. So as part of sponsoring the festival, the winning filmmaker will receive some Litecoin as part of their prize. Also, members of the Litecoin Foundation staff will be in attendance for networking purposes and also to educate the attendees about cryptocurrency. That's pretty cool, guys, and how to use crypto. And yeah, it's cool. I mean, I like educating, and then that's great for those guys, what they're doing. Also, if you guys haven't seen this, this is an interview, History of Cryptography with Whitfield Diffie. Now, this is done by What Bitcoin Did. If you guys, let me turn the volume down. It's a podcast, so there's not much to see. But if you guys don't know who he is, outside of being an advisor to NKN and a few other projects, he's an American cryptographer and one of the first pioneers of public key cryptography, along with Martin Hellman and Ralph Merkle. Merkle, sound familiar? So Diffie and Hellman's 1976 paper, New Directions in Cryptography, introduced a radically new method of distributing cryptographic keys that helps solve key distribution, a fundamental problem in cryptography. So if you guys are interested, check that out. Lots of knowledge, lots of information if you're down for that. Now, unfortunately, we do have some more bad news to report from the bull market. Coinsquare has announced that 40 members have now, unfortunately, been let go. The head of talent from Coinsquare, Martin Huck, took to LinkedIn, and he said the ever-evolving digital currency space has been volatile and unpredictable. Many similar companies in our industry have had to make some tough choices in recent months, and Coinsquare has had to do so as well. So this is very unfortunate, although they go on to say that they are very grateful for the people that they had on the team. It's unfortunate. A lot of people got put out of work because of this bear market. It's really, really sad, but at the same time, it's good to see the guys still pushing forward and doing the best that they can. Maybe next time around we'll better manage for these types of downturns. I mean, I don't think anybody expected it to be this bad, but hey, what are you gonna do? You can't change the past, right? Now, also this story was when I saw the title. Look at the title right here. Head of Russia's second largest bank compares crypto mining to counterfeiting. I literally laughed out loud before I even read this, but I was figured I'd entertain it. So you have Andrei Kostin, the head of VTB, which is Russia's second largest bank, has compared cryptocurrency mining with counterfeiting, right? He says, I'm not a big fan of crypto ruble. To me, this is kind of like counterfeiting. A person who's mining cryptos is similar to someone who's printing money. During the initial euphoria, everyone thought that everything can be paid in crypto starting tomorrow, but it hasn't happened so far. Mining is nothing like counterfeiting, just gonna point that out there. But he believes that there's no relevant way to regulate the crypto area in the same way that traditional markets are regulated. And if cryptocurrencies become dominant on the financial market, it could become dangerous. He says the board chairman at VTB, it says actually, however, the board chairman at VTB, Olga, does not share his stance. In fact, in June 2018, she claimed that VTB was potentially ready to work with digital assets. Moreover, she said that they could be treated on an equal basis with fiat in the near future. Also, Cointelegraph had previously reported that the demand for cryptos in Russia is allegedly very high. That's like kind of where that whole Russia's buying Bitcoin thing kind of came out from that economist, right? But the banks are not able to meet it due to the lack of clearly defined regulations. Actually, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll drop that one below. But during a closed-door meeting in September, several Russian banks, including Sberbank, Alfa Bank, and VTB, reportedly expressed their interest in crypto. Now, we also have another story coming from the Winklevoss. Now, I actually highlighted a lot of this story. I'm not really too sure that I really care to go into it as much as I did when I first read it. But long story short, basically, they are shutting down accounts without warning that are trying to cash out their GUSD. Okay, so you have different guys that are coming out saying their accounts have been closed for absolutely no reason. And yeah, I mean, you guys can read this. This is kind of crazy. Basically, they don't want people cashing out too fast. The trader provided emails that showed that Gemini closed the account without offering any reason. So many players are unable to redeem. Even very, very big OTC desks, having an account doesn't guarantee redeemability. And it looks like they had given these guys a little bit of a discount back in the day. And they were asking them not to sell. And they said that if you sell, it could potentially hurt GUSD. Yeah. So you guys can do what you want with that. I mean, they're regulated exchange. The regulated exchange, aka we can freeze your accounts, we can freeze the GUSD, we don't have to honor, like, basically we can do whatever we want, so that's how it's regulated. I mean, you guys know that the Gemini dollar has a freeze function in it, right? So, like, even if you take it off the exchange and you're holding it in your own wallet, they still have an ability to freeze your funds even if you take them off the exchange. Just throwing that out there. But they're being compliant though. It's regulated. Interestingly enough, here's something cool. New data showed that the United States actually has the most active traders across most major crypto exchanges. So you have 60% for Coinbase, Binance 24, Bittrex 27, and Poloniex 28, which is quite interesting considering that we also have the harshest regulation, right? So it would, not the harshest, but we have regulation. So here's a little bit of a graph from Data Light if you want to have a look at that. And guys, I saved this story for last because I didn't even know if I want to bring it up because I was going to anyway, let's just talk about it. So this is somebody that they're saying in theory, okay, the independentrepublic.com, they say that one day XRP could possibly surge by 2,000% and reach a price of $692.30 per coin. Which means that it would have a market cap of 27 trillion, and that would be insane because as of this point, gold being mined is only 7.8 trillion, right? So according to you today, such a surge is possible if Ripple is chosen for all cross-border payments made by all financial institutions worldwide. The daily value of all cross-border transactions around the world is 9.8 trillion, while 27 trillion is stored in cross-border transactional accounts. So hypothetically speaking, if we dropped every other form of remittances across the globe and we only used XRP, then possibly for cross-border transactions, we could see a $692 XRP. Although I don't really think that's possible, guys. Sorry to break your heart. So investingin.com, haven.com believes that XRP could potentially hit $20 by the end of 2019. Okay, as they explain, Ripple enables international payments, and due to this fact, such a price is possible and somewhat more realistic. So just kind of a fun article, not trying to say anything, guys. I just was having a good time with this one. That being said, guys, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. If you guys didn't actually catch the live stream that let me mute it. The live stream that I did with CryptoCandor last night, she does have it up on her Twitter. You can also you can go on YouTube. Actually, I'll drop it below if you guys haven't seen it. It was really cool. Thank you for everyone that came out. Also, we did happen to talk a little bit about the blockchain brief, and I do want to mention to you guys, you know, this is the newsletter that I write for, but we do have a Pivx giveaway. It's a swag bag, so let me put this right here. You could probably scan this right now above my head, like if you're looking at a screen, or just go to the website and you can enter for your chance to win if you're interested. Obviously, you know, it's totally free. And once again, guys, you know, please keep your stuff safe. You know, so many hacks. You finally found this guy this morning. I missed him. I thought I lost him. So if you guys, you know, want, you know, I do appreciate you guys using my Ledger affiliate links to stay safe. It definitely helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you a thing. And that being said, that is it for me today, guys. So let me know what you think about Jack Dorsey and Twitter and Lightning Network and the potential of a $690 XRP, which is absolutely crazy, guys. So just let me know. And yeah, it's Wednesday, halfway through the week. Pleasure to have you back here on the channel. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Shout out to everyone that's been liking, subscribing, commenting. If you haven't subscribed yet, guys, I do videos every single day, no matter what, boring or exciting, bearish or bullish. I do videos. So hope you guys enjoy. Thanks again for stopping by. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.